Hello, nice to meet you all. Now that COVID-19 is coming to an end, it's so nice to gather together in person, am I right? Yes. We now have the advantages of offline and online seminars during this COVID-19 pandemic. Have you gotten used to that, meeting through Zoom? Now, as we merge online and offline together, there will be explosive growth within our company. So, you all need to be mentally prepared for explosive growth. Our Mansun Cho is the royal master who runs a chicken restaurant, and she earns an annual salary of 400 million won. However, there is an older sister, Gill Jo, in the family. Mansun and Chilsun. That sister started in the Atomy business first, and she's currently earning about 200 million won. It seems like she'll go up to earn 400 million won soon. And now there is another older sister, the crown master, Song-sim Kim. Her annual salary is around 400 million won, but she will soon rise to earn 1 billion won as the imperial master. Then there are nephews, husbands, and wives. The family currently has 8 members, and now they earn about 1.7 billion won a year. It must be a secure family, right? Sooner or later, they will turn into a family that earns $1 billion each. There's another well-off family. It's the imperial master Kwang Kim. His family was a little more ruined than the royal master Mansun Cho's family before the start of Atomy. So, the more ruined, the higher the participation rate, and I think they'd rather go double or nothing in this business and succeed. The imperial master Kwang Kim's couple earns about 1 billion won, and beneath there's the crown master Sahak Kim, who earns about 400 million won. Their niece, named Sanhwa Ju, is a royal master. She's in her 30s. The royal master, Sayun Kim, earns about 200 million won. Royal master Ungman Lee earns about 200 million won. Beneath the royal masters, there's the Sharon Rose master, Myung-yo Kim. He has already joined the Leaders Club and is earning about 100 million won. The family now earns about 2.3 billion won a year by 6 people. And also, in the case of the imperial master Kwang Kim, he bought a vacation home at the bottom of the mountain. And it's his own villa. The feeling of drinking a cup of coffee in the morning must feel amazing. But he hasn't invited me yet. I wonder if he drinks coffee alone, though it's close to my house. It's less than 10 or 15 minutes away, but he hasn't asked me to come yet, and he's drinking coffee alone. I need to give Imperial Kwang Kim a call. Let's have a cup of coffee. Doesn't that coffee taste good? Yes. How nice is the wind when you sit on the roof in a place like that? Quite a lot of people say, I didn't see anyone who's made money through multi-leveling, but when you come to this town, there are quite a few. People say that it's all sizzle and no steak. Go and check out their house. However, there are quite a few people whose lives have been completely changed with Atomy. So, our imperial master, Jung-soo Park, hasn't just changed her house, but she owns an apartment in the most expensive neighborhood in Iksan and the best school district. She's a building owner. So, she's built a building on a wide 8-lane road in Iksan. And now she has an Atomy center, a cafe below, and her own office on the 4th floor. And it's just fabulous. But when I first met that lady, she lived in a 5-pyeong-sized studio. So, because she had to work a job, her mother took care of her 2 daughters, who went to elementary school. Because she lived with her mother, she couldn't live with her husband. So her husband was staying away from home, and that's when we first met. She is a wonderful lady. And there's a granny, or miss, who's called a sexy lady. But the old lady is a little crazy. She was told, "How do you sell cosmetics with that face?" These days, she says that she's being invited to be a model, so she's posing like that. But that red sports car wasn't sponsored. She bought it. She didn't know what kind of car it was, and she didn't even think about her age. It was good when she bought it and took pictures, but she said that her back hurts after riding it. It's easy to get tired after riding a sports car for 30 minutes. After riding for an hour, your body aches. But anyway, the granny had to show off. So I really think it's great. In any case, she is a very good leader that drives such a hard and uncomfortable sports car just to promote Atomy to others. Of course, she has a comfortable sedan as well. She also bought imported cars for her son and daughter. That's why there are cars that are all so comfortable, but still riding that car makes her feel stylish. Confusing? Takeout? Yes, of course there are some photography skills involved. So, it's true that there are quite a few people who've made money and become rich after meeting Atomy. So there must be some of you who have been brought by that troublesome multi-level process here today. But Atomy doesn't let anyone become its members. Today, I will briefly explain a product to you and also explain our absolute quality, absolute price. But these are the products that you can judge whether this product is good or bad, expensive or cheap. Whether it's better or worse than the toothpaste and toothbrush you are using. You all know whether cosmetics are more expensive or cheaper than you used before, good or bad. So you are now experts as consumers, so you can verify as much as you want. So there's nothing to be deceived. You guys verify it yourselves, and I can use this product for the rest of my life. But the price is cheaper than the one I used before. So even if I don't do this Atomy business, I have to be a consumer. Being a consumer will benefit me eventually. Only those who think like this should do business. Anyone who's against using our product instead of earning an income shouldn't start this business. They will not be succeed. Why? Because you have to go and lie to other people. It's not good to lie. So the easiest way for you to do business without working hard is to try the products. After you try it, if you think, oh, this isn't just for me, I want everyone I know to use it, then these thoughts come up automatically. You introduced a really good product to someone. Then he said he wouldn't use it. Okay, don't use it. I'll use it. Even without you, many others would use it. If you do this, you won't have a hard time. Why is it difficult to sell, difficult to conduct sales? And why do people say that they cannot sell? There's always a reason why. This is difficult because I'm just going around and encouraging other people to use the product I don't use just to make money. Everyone, I'll tell you the essence of this network marketing. It's not about selling. Not at all. Yes, it's to sell. If you're selling to someone, you have to sell to one single person. If you sell to only one, sell only to yourself. To yourself. And you can tell other people that too. You don't need to sell it. Sell only to you. You can sell it to you, right? Anyone who can't sell to yourself, raise your hand, please. It's cheap and good, but one can't sell it to oneself. It doesn't make sense. Anyone can do it. That's why it's easy once you know the essence of Atomy's business. Everyone, the distribution is based on the principle of consumer interest. The principle of consumer interest is that it is better to buy this product than to keep the money. So people go and buy. Why do sellers sell? Because it is better to earn money than to own the product. It is said that sales are made according to the principle of mutual benefit. It's difficult because people are not following that principle, but trying to make others buy the product that they don't even use. The end result, the buyer will suffer a loss. Everyone, toothbrushes cost 2,000 won and 3,000 won. You bought and used them, right? But Atomy sells it for 990 won. But I'm not saying it's cheap from the beginning. It was sold at a discount store for 2,200 won. But I used dozens of those toothbrushes at first. I used them all. If you try brushing your teeth 10 times a day, the gums are swollen and painful. But anyway, I experimented and found just one toothbrush. Oh, I'll use this toothbrush for the rest of my life. And I called the business owner. Then I said, let's sell this toothbrush for less than 1,000 won. He said he couldn't sell at that price. There needs to be a profit margin for him and Atomy, as well as member commissions, delivery fees, and card fees. We must consider and calculate all of these factors. Oh, I can't sell like that. That's what he said. So I said, let's sell 10 million of these toothbrushes. Still can't? Then he said, oh, Chairman, toothbrushes don't sell that much. So, anyway, I'll give you an order of 1 million pieces per month. So let's do it. Instead, how many cavities go in one mold right now? When I looked, only a few of them go in. So I said, increase this cavity, make a new mold. And then, do you buy raw materials in bags or do you buy it in bulk? Then he said that he buys it in bags. Then I'll give you cash so you can buy it in bulk. I'll give you an advance so you can take the cash with you. Then the cost of raw materials will drop by as much as 20 to 30%, right? Then he said, that's right. And I said, I'll never change the product design for the rest of my life. You can't change your mouth, so why do you keep making toothbrushes in different shapes? With a good shape, I won't change the design until my mouth changes. After that, you can run this as an unmanned factory for 24 hours by installing an automated line. Then we can match the price. Please do the calculation again. Then he said, I will. So it's not like the price has been cut unconditionally. It is a reasonable cost down. By working together, Atomy toothbrush sold 40 million units in the world, including Korea last year. Atomy's myth was written that way. We also sell toothpaste for 2,900 won. It weighs 200 grams, the size of my forearm. It's the size of a baby's forearm, not an adult's forearm, but it's a functional toothpaste. So when propolis is added, it becomes a functional toothpaste, so 100 gram sized product is sold for 20,000 and 30,000 won at the pharmacy. However, we made such a functional toothpaste, and even though it's 200 grams big, it's sold for 2,900 won. So to provide you with reasonable prices and quality through scientific management. So absolute quality, a quality that no one can match. With current technology, no one can match the quality of Atomy products, so quality comes first. Then at this quality, no one can sell at this price. If anyone sells it at this price, they will be torn apart and go bankrupt. If anyone wants to follow me, follow me. That's why we're selling at a price that can never be followed and matched. As a result, we have risen to the top 10 in the direct sales industry in 10 years. There are thousands, even tens of thousands of companies. We went into the top 100 a few years ago. We've continued going up and up into the top 10. Someone asked me, "Chairman, how does it feel to be in the top 10? I said, "What do you mean? It was supposed to happen." No, we didn't originally aim for the top 10. We were going to become a hub for global distribution. We will become a company that not only integrates the direct sales industry, but also the global distribution. We will become a company that not only integrates the direct sales industry, but also global distribution. So, Atomy's growth cannot be stopped. It will keep growing. So, maybe some of you think that Atomy is over. It's too late. So they say that there has to be a new company. It's a stupid idea when I look at them. Atomy isn't successful because it was a new company. It was successful because it was different. Of course, if there's a competitor that sells better quality at an affordable price than us, then go there. But there's no such company. Why? We brought this up to the absolute level. So I'll make the company as an unmanned company. There are only a couple hundred employees at the headquarters. There aren't many companies that generate sales like ours and whose revenue per employee is between 5 billion and 7 billion won. Everyone, if it even exceeds 1 billion won, they say that it's an incredibly excellent company. But we have such a system that generates revenue per employee of 5 to 7 billion won. Decision-making is quick-paced. Our new recruit has more authority than the directors and managing directors of other companies. That's why we can do great things for a small amount of cost. It's not just about cutting costs and lowering prices. If you look at our current commission system, it's the best in the world. This is just amazing. And it has infinite levels. In my first level, the commission for the sales raised by a person 10,000 levels under me, after going down 100 levels, 1,000 levels, and 10,000 levels, is supposed to rise to me in the same way. Everyone, there are smart people, even if they aren't good at studying. If you see, what kind of people are those people? Wow! Not just the ones I recruited myself, but the 10th, 100th, 1,000th, and 10,000th levels equally pay me, then 2 people, 4 people, 8 people. If it goes down 10,000 levels, it's going to be a huge spread. Does that pay me the same amount? Then, if we keep doing it, we will inevitably succeed, right? Yes, there are people who just go crazy and do it. These people succeed. But who is narrow-minded? No matter how many friends you have, no one seems to be willing to work in multi-networking businesses. This thick-headed man would only think of that. The man's doing what he's not supposed to do. If you check on him, it doesn't work like that in the first place. A successful person would say, go ahead and do it. If you don't do it, there are a lot of people who will do it, even if it's not you. And if he keeps doing it, then there is a chance that one of them will do it. This is such an era. Everyone, look, when I was in college, anyone who couldn't get a job until they graduated from college was considered weird. Anyone who gets a job these days is considered weird. Because there are no jobs for young people right now. This is why our young leaders are developing rapidly these days. In their late 20s and early 30s, they earn billion won annually already. Then it goes upside down. Their friends study hard to become civil servants that don't pay well. Because of that, they have to live in poverty all their lives. They take 20 or 30 years to get a common apartment and raise their children, which leaves nothing for them, including their retirement plan. It's sad to see. Not following such a route, by the time other friends graduated in their 20s and 30s, their annual salary was already in the billions of won. They drive a Mercedes-Benz E-Class and meet with friends who send in multiple job applications and tease them. They'd say, "Let's have a cup of tea," driving a Benz E-Class, and say, "My annual salary's become 400 million won." An annual salary of 4 million is astonishing. We normally leave jobs to young people. After that, usually everyone in their 50s and 60s retires. But they're still healthy enough to work for 10, 20, 30 more years. So jobs for the silver generation are a concerning problem. But when they invest with their severance pay, they get so nervous, they're afraid they'll go bankrupt. It's better not to do that. So this silver generation wants to live a little more elegantly as well. When they had a decent job, there was room for official expenses, etc. This way, they could pay for others from time to time, but now living with a pension, they've become stingy. And there are people around them whom they want to help, but they can't even help, so life is just so sad. That's why they go to the mountains every day to wipe away their tears. Husbands don't go to mountains because they like going there. Complaining about his life in front of his wife is a bit of a shame. He just goes to the mountains and wipes his tears, looking at the distant clouds. So those people are no longer able to get a job and they don't have money to invest. Then what do? This Atomy business is a no capital and a branchless business. I mean, there's no money to invest. We're just selling ourselves products that we used to buy elsewhere. Tell others to sell to yourself. That's why we're creating consumers associations. The creation of such a consumers association is the correct definition to think that I receive a certain amount of income instead of advertising expenses for what my affiliated members spend. For those who run our business and say that it's hard to attract consumers, today I will tell you how to make consumers well. There's no secret. You have to use the product diligently. When you become a user, you are impressed with the product. So you're supposed to convey that feeling. So you have to be prepared to be impressed with the product and use the product. People don't even compare the days they eat hemohim and the days they don't. If you say that you are going to succeed with hemohim, even if it becomes your job, then you should be interested in whether hemohim works or not. You need to try it on your body as if it were an experiment. So you need to compare these things on the day you consume it and the day you don't, and see how your body feels when you wake up in the morning. When others are tired, when you look at them, and if they seem tired, then recommend consuming hemohim. Then this number of consumers will increase. And aren't they supposed to use all the products? It means that consumers are created from all of these products. Even if you don't use it, you should try it. For example, when I was developing a women's sanitary pad, I had to check whether it was a good or bad product. So I wet the pad with water, put it on, and wore it all day. I tried sitting and also walking around. But then I realized one thing. Oh, I'm pretty sure I know why women don't wear loose underwear. I put it on my underwear panty line and wore it, but found that it was moving a lot. Guys, men need to try wearing that and respect women. Women should be respected no matter what. Try wearing it for a day. I developed it to get a feel for it because I'm selling it, even if I don't use it. Then, in the case of women's Sephora Queen, you'd also have to see what the ingredients are in order to recommend it to women. So, if you use all the products, you will, of course, make consumers. Then, if the number of current members is large, but the sales are low, if you and your partners use all the products, your sales and ranks will double and triple. There are some consumers now, but not many businessmen who will risk their lives like I would. It has a cause. Those who don't succeed don't write the life scenarios properly. So write the life scenario with your partners. Again, talk about your own life scenario. I started this business to become a person who earns 50 million won or 100 million won a month. You have to instill a vision. What are you selling? You're selling dreams and visions. But that dream doesn't end as a dream. It's a dream that can come true. For Mr. Kwang-yo Kim, buying a villa and drinking coffee at the foot of the mountain is a dream come true, isn't it? It's done. Miss Hyun-suk Kim drives a sports car even when it's hard, a red sports car. I don't want to use this word. For the imperial master, Jung-soo Park, but people say that a building owner is the best there is. The owner of the building. It was built with Atomy commission. It was built with an Atomy allowance. Everyone, even with that alone, it's a great vision. In addition to that, you get another 50 million won when you become the royal master. You also receive a cruise tour for 11 days with your family. Some say that their parents have never been on an international airplane to travel. That's why there are people who say that even when their parents die, their wish is relieved. So let's live like what it's supposed to. It's not that we're just earning money or showing off and bragging, but we really want to take good care of our parents we love. I want to make it easy for them so that they don't have to worry about anything. Our children are having a hard time in the entrance exams. Everyone. Don't tell them to study. When you become the imperial master, the kids don't have to study. So guys, you don't have to study. Mom and dad didn't do well either. So we're running the Atomy business now, and we think that's a good thing. When I was in school, I didn't do very well either. I couldn't do well, so I'm the chairman of Atomy now. So, the reason why the number of members didn't increase is that you didn't tell your partners about your vision, dream, and what kind of person you want to become. If you want to make consumers, then you have to use all the products. You have to convey the impression of the product. And if you want to try to create members, you have to talk about what kind of vision you have for the Atomy business. Believe it or not, we have to talk endlessly. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter whether they believe it or not. It only matters whether I believe it or not. So when we talk, sometimes there are some crazy people. They don't even know how to do it. They just yell 1 billion won. Wow, sending me a trip to Europe makes it feel like a dream. They're in Mont Blanc, Switzerland, and Montmartre alone. They're dreaming themselves over there in their thoughts. I mean, there are people who have dreams like that. We're supposed to find someone like that. Then it will become a partnership. It's okay if you can't speak. Just bring them to this place. Then again, aren't I good at talking? So it's okay if you don't speak English. There is the Crown Master, Bun Suk Kim. Crown Master! She only went to elementary school. She's only sewed using sewing machines until over 50. Then after meeting the Atomy business, she can't seem to be able to say yes or no in English. But in the United States, she operated this business, and the Crown Master, Jae Guangshim, was born below her. And again, because she lives in the US, people speak English. As she went all over, it was spread extensively. So everyone, you don't need to speak Chinese, English, and Japanese. I'm not good either. I said I didn't study well. The chairman of this global company can't even speak English properly. If employees write it for me, I learn pronunciation right next to them. I can barely speak English, but I'm still the chairman of a global network company. So don't worry about not being able to study well. Don't worry about not being able to speak a foreign language, but the willingness to succeed as if your life depends on it. All of you can succeed with the tool, Atomy. If there is only one passionate love that needs to resurrect your loved ones and your family. Thank you. We will wrap it up.